VeeFam, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the VeeFam Sessions. My name is Mr. Messer, but you can call me Rob, and I am so privileged to be here with the one, the only former teacher turned entrepreneur, VeeFriend, and just household name, pillar of this community, the amazing Ann Bagg. Ann, how are you?
Good. I'm excited to see you.
So excited to see you. I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you so much. Um, you're everywhere. So I'm happy, selfishly, I'm happy that we get to have you here too. And so much to talk about. So great to finally meet you IRL at VCon. Can't wait to get into all that. But as always, I'd like to take it from the top, from the beginning. So if you don't mind taking a step back, pun intended, uh, to give me the quick, I say 55 seconds, but I'm being a little silly. Give us the quick cliff notes on who Anne Bagg is before she ever heard the word VeeFriends.
I was born and raised in Germany. Studied graphic and communication design, and after I did an internship, the recession kind of hit in Germany that came from America, and so there was no jobs, and I decided, you know what, I don't have a family yet. I was young. I was like, I'm gonna go to the States and just work there for a while. And became a nanny here, and met my husband, and decided to stay. Came back here and studied early childhood education, and was a teacher for about 7 years, and built up a side business of creating printables for teachers. And within like 3 years, I built it enough that it replaced my income so that I could first go to part time and just work in the office of the school that I worked at, and then completely quit my job and stay home with my daughter before she started kindergarten. And that was probably my best decision ever. It took about a year and a half after quitting my job, really for myself, because I felt like I was always just working, and did a lot of self development. And that's when I came across Gary's
Hmm.
content and VeeFriends, and saw one of the live streams he had and tried to get one of the packs. And they told me to go to Fanatics, and
And
the rest is history.
and the rest is history. That's a lot of big. I'm gonna take it back a few steps. That's a lot of big moves in a short. I mean, in a minute talking about it, but a lot of big life moves. So you're in your 20. You were what, 25, 26 when you actually came to the States.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big move. That's not like switching jobs. It's like leaving everything behind to go to a foreign territory. Where were you? What was your mindset with that? Were you like totally motivated, whatever your situation was at the time? Were you totally motivated to get out? Were there a lot of reservations? Like, what was your mindset back then? Because that's a huge move that I don't think we should just totally skate over. And obviously a big part of your story.
I have an older sister, and she went abroad to like the States and Australia and stuff a couple times, and she really loved it, and it like helped her really grow as a person. And so when after the internship and like I tried to be self-employed for a while and just didn't work out. There was just not really a lot of jobs, so I didn't have a job. I didn't have a partner. I didn't have kids. It's like, okay, I don't really have anything to give up besides maybe a year of my life to just try something new, something different. So the decision was fairly easy in that moment. Just if I don't do it now, I know I'm never going to do it. Once you have a partner, it's so much harder like to go to a
Sure.
different country
Yeah.
and you have kids. So I think I just used the moment of like I have nothing to lose right now. I might just try it and see what happens. And I'm happy I did.
Amazing. And what was the dynamics of the family, your first family when you moved?
Um, they were super kind. They're only like 10 years older than me, so it didn't really feel like host parents. They were more like friends. And they were here in Seattle where I live now too. Super nice, relaxed, laid back family, three little kids. Um, I was just we really vibed together. It was just fun being with them. I'm still in contact with them, and it was just a really fun experience for me to come here.
That's so fun. Um, and this is it's super fun because when I was young, I'm the oldest of three, and when we were young, we had an au pair and live a nanny from Germany for
Oh,
six
really?
years. So like, yeah, she was with us for a while, like 5, 6 years maybe, and she was just like she was part of the family.
Mm-hmm.
Like I went to my first concert with her, and we'd like go do wrestling. Like we were tight. Like, and it's just people think nanny a lot, and they don't realize like when you live in, like
Yeah,
you're part of the family. Like you're there all the time.
yeah.
Um, so I that's a kind of a neat caveat to that. So obviously you're good with children. Was that something that always came natural to you, or did you like really hone your skills when you came here and
I think
were working with a family?
I always liked helping people. I was always a helper type, so I feel like it's kind of what a teacher does too. You kind of help others thrive in whatever they're good at. Um, so that made the transition kind of easier. It just kind of happened. I felt like it was a very different move from like me doing graphic and communication design to like teaching. It just kind of fell into it.
Mm.
But I loved it. Like there's times where I miss it, but I also like the flexibility I have now. Like you're a teacher, you know how that is. Like as much as rewarding as the job is, it's also it takes you away from your family a lot because it's a job you take home with you.
100%. I have a big time love hate relationship with teaching. Did you? How many years were you in the classroom?
7 in the classroom and then about a year and a half as an administrator.
Oh, you did administration. What was your role there?
Um, Mainly when the kids would come in, we would like fill out the paperwork and stuff like that. I
Got it.
was offered assistant director, but then I would have to go back to full time. And at that point, I was 2 days a week, and I loved having more time with my daughter. So I turned it down and said, I'd rather just do other stuff, but spend more time with my family, which is more important for me.
Mm, I love that. Interesting. I didn't know that part of the story. So you end up creating printables for TPT, Teachers Pay
Mm-hmm.
Teachers. And let me give my viewpoint of this. So for anyone that doesn't know, Teachers Pay Teachers is a site for teachers like me that like when you have no idea what to do and like okay, I have to teach this new unit in 45 minutes. What am I going to do? Um, if you're ill prepared, you go to the site Teachers Pay Teachers, you type it in, and it's all of these units, all of these resources that you can buy. There's sometimes they're freebies, but all of the really good stuff you buy, you put in your credit card, and voila, you have a unit. So you created it for this platform, and now it's sustainable business.
And I kind of just fell into it. We started a new curriculum at our school, and the curriculum only came with books and lesson plans, but nothing else. And so
Mm,
I started to create a lot of the stuff for different areas in the classroom, if it's like posters and little worksheets, coloring things, all that kind of stuff. And I thought, okay, if I need to create this for this curriculum and I know others are using it, others will need this too. So I just started putting it up and build it up over 3 years. And I think I got lucky that I was early enough in that curriculum creating products for it that I just showed up easier in searches than other people did. So I think
mm,
that was a little bit, I mean, hard work too. Like every time I had, like Emmy was a toddler at the time when I started, so I would work full time at the school. Our school also wasn't closed during summer, so we were always open. So I would either be teaching, be a toddler mom, or when she was napping, I would work it. During my lunch break, I would work just to make it happen, find those little pockets here and there. And then over 3 years, where I finally picked up a lot enough that I felt comfortable to quit my job. I think it had replaced my income the year before, but since it was such a volatile thing, you don't know like when people are buying from you. Just didn't feel
right.
comfortable yet to quit my job. But at that point, my husband said to like, "You're making more than that. Just
That's
quit your
got to
job."
be a great feeling.
It was.
Did you, I mean, when you first start, I know you fell into it, but at a certain point, when you really started to put in the time and sacrifice the lunch breaks and all of that stuff, was that the vision? Was that the goal? Like, this is a way out?
I think mostly coming from Germany. In Germany, you have 2 years of maternity leave. And I didn't have that here in the States. And I hated that. I hated that I missed that time of not spending time with my daughter. And I had about 4 months before I had to go back to work. And that was fortunate enough. Like most people don't even get that. Um, but ever since she was born, I always tried to find something on the side that I could stay home with her. And that just took me longer than I thought it would. But it was always like doing something on the side that you just don't get that time back.
Yeah,
You know,
no,
when they're
I
so young.
agree.
So also the flexibility. Like I love now that she's in school, I could work somewhere else, part-time at least. But I love the flexibility of if she wakes up in the morning and doesn't feel good, no matter if it's physically or mentally, I can say, let's stay home. There's no job I have to call or say, like, I'm not coming today. And I just didn't have that when I was working. Like, it always felt like, especially as a teacher, like, it's hard to find a replacement for the day.
Oh my
So
goodness.
you
Yeah.
always felt like you have to be there. And I felt like I had to sacrifice a lot of that. So once I had the opportunity to be home with her and just really focus on her, that was like, okay, I have to do it.
I love that. I feel that so hard. And it's really a shame that we have that kind of system here for maternity leave, paternity leave. Like people in Europe laugh at us. Um, I think I was in like Prague for like a retreat, and I heard that dads get a year off, like the
So
fathers.
in Germany,
Like,
you can pick. I know my sister and my brother-in-law did. She did a year and he did a year. So you can pick. You get 2 years, and like either of
got
them
it.
can use it.
Like that's unheard of. Anything close to that is unheard of here. Well, I guess that's a larger topic for another day, but let's put it on the docket of things to change here because obviously like such precious time with the little ones and you know how fast it goes. Like it's insane. But that's amazing. So you like and when you were doing that, it was kind of just you said just in the search, it was a need based on that. So you weren't doing like it doesn't sound like you were doing any like content or like marketing, like pushing people towards those products on Teacher Pay Teachers. Okay,
No, I did later on a little bit, but not as much as I probably could have.
got it. Before you drank the content creation juice. Uh, so so you become like this business is still happening. Have you had any urges to kind of pivot it or build on top of it or start other things? Where's Anne the entrepreneur right now?
I started a second one, I want to say like half a year before I joined VeeFriends, just because I created all the materials for that curriculum that I talked about. And that was all preschool, pre-K related. And now that Emmy is in elementary school, I try to create things around her age group that could be fun or interesting for her to do. So I feel like I kind of age up the stuff I create. Though lately I haven't made that much. I've been a little busy with VeeFriends.
I, so I've heard. Um, so so cool. I'd like to take the microscope and zoom in on um that first Fanatics stream because that's when you hit the radar and even Rips was on this podcast and I think it was just timely of when you came on because and I think you listened to this episode you mentioned
Mhm.
where he's just talking about you and at this point you were just like some lady Ann. Like this lady Ann came on and like you started showing up every day, but like he alluded to like your story with Emmy and how like she got some I think it was creativity award maybe. Forgive me if I'm totally butchering this, but you wanted to get a crab and you really resonate with that character because of what was going on with her. And that I remember that sticking out of the episode, and here you are. So take me to. I mean, are you collecting anything at this point? Like you don't. I'm assuming like you weren't a member of Fanatics Live.
No, I'd never even heard of Fanatics. I'd never really collected anything before. I was really on Gary's Twitch stream, and they were opening packs. And
Got
I
it.
asked in the chat, like, how do you get one of those packs? I want to open one, and you couldn't buy them online. And then Shep was in there, and he said they're usually on Fanatics. Like they're gonna have a stream tomorrow. Just download the app and then join tomorrow. And the next day, like I joined the um, I downloaded the app and everything and filled everything out. And the next day there was another Twitch stream, and I almost forgot about it. And then hi Anthony, was in the chat, and he like reminded everybody like, hey, they're gonna be live. So I jumped over, and then I think it was a really relaxed stream too. There wasn't like a ton of people, which I felt like was really helpful for me because I had a ton of questions that I had no clue what was happening. Like how to buy, what to do, what are people doing here. But because it was such a relaxed, low key stream, it really allowed me to like ask questions. The community jumped in, Conman and Ribs answered all my questions, and I felt like they were just so good about. I don't really want to. It didn't feel like onboarding. It really felt like welcoming people into
Mm.
it. There was just such a like. I remember like I had one question about something, and Connor was talking about something, but Ribs saw my question in the chat, so he wrote the answer on a sticky note and held it into the camera, so I would still get my answer. And just like little details like that just felt like they want to make sure they answer the people that are new here. And then there was this one moment that they always do a ton of giveaways, and they're about to put a pack up as a giveaway, and then Rib said, "Do you guys want to do it as a giveaway, or just give it to Anne?" And then the entire chat just wrote Anne, and I was like, "What is this? Like these people don't know me, they've never heard of me. Like why would they do this?" So it was just like a bit of an overwhelming feeling of like you just don't know the internet like that. Like the internet is usually more of a everybody for themselves kind of place, and
Yeah.
to just experience the complete opposite of complete strangers, like this generosity and kindness was just like a little bit, what is this? And I feel like that's when I kind of got into it and just like felt this is a place I want to be part of. And like after that, like people reached out to me and like said hello, and I just felt instantly like really kind, caring people. It just felt instantly like home. Like there was just something about it that you can't really describe.
I love that, and it gave you that feeling to keep on coming back. Because I remember this moment in time, and really like the thing that stuck out for me was your very like your bright yellow like PFP, like your branding, and I was like, oh, like that's the Anne from that was on Fanatics, because at that time I think they were going live very often,
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of streams a week, and then that carried over to Twitter, and here you are. And so at that point, you're not a collector, but now you're collecting. You know, what what kept you coming back? Was it just like that feeling in the community and the welcoming nature, or like did you start like I guess what I'm asking is like when did you really catch the bug of acquiring these things and being a deeper part? Because I mean, you kept on showing up, and then like I don't know how far back you started making the content, but then here comes the content, and it's been like full throttle ever since. And a lot of the times this has happened many times, and everyone has their own journey, but like people come in full force, and it's like, whoa, like I went too hard, too fast, too furious, too soon, and like they kind of it's too much, and they kind of take, they fall back. So I guess I'm just curious, like what those next couple steps are in the journey for you to, really thrust you into like our world.
There's so many parts to it. I I think it took me a minute to understand the cards and like what I like about it, which character, but I feel like once that kind of hit, and I've like spent more time with it and more time with community members explaining things to me, I feel like that's when the bug hit. Like wanting a full set and like finding your favorite characters and pulling those tier ones. And I mean, and once you pull a 101, then that's when it
That was
definitely
it.
got me.
I know there's been multiple. What was the first one?
I want to say, and that's bad that I don't know that, but I want to say my first one was actually the Series 1 with at the Texas meetup. I bought into the Series 1 box they had
Yeah.
and got the 1 of 1 there, and that was my first one. And then the first Series 2 was a giveaway. They had a stream, and then they said, okay, if Adam makes the shot, they still had the little basketball in the back.
Yeah.
We're gonna give a pack away, and I won that pack, and there was 101 in there.
Wow. And we've never I don't have any one of ones, but we've had a couple times where we've had pulled some big cards. Our son hit one of the one of one stickers, and for me, it's it's just the feeling, it's the moment versus the card. Like we don't even have some of the stuff anymore, but we still have those moments, and like that, I will never lose ever. Um, are you the same way?
I think it's both. I do like the collectibles a lot, and I have a hard time letting go of them. I really need to start selling stuff. I'm definitely reaching that part of my journey. It's the moment too, and I feel like especially the moment when it was with certain like community members or like a special stream when it happened. I think that's just where you just have certain memories with it.
Mm,
I think
yeah.
that's like
It,
it is addictive too. I'm not gonna lie. Like I do have. I think we talked about that too. Like I do have ADHD, so there's part of it is the dopamine
sure,
hit
the
that
rush.
you have from opening a box or opening a pack. Um, I'm sure that that's part of it too. That plays into it.
Yeah,
That's
I
the part we
mean
have to be careful about.
sure, like the Fanatics tax is a phrase I throw around, but it's any live auction format or any live stream when you have an audience, there is an energy like it's hard to duplicate that. Like you don't get that same thing from grabbing something off of eBay.
Yeah,
And then like waiting and in the box, and then it's like, okay, what am I? It's just it's not the same. But you pay for that. So I believe me, I live that, feel that hard. With both collectibles, casino days, like I believe me. Um, so like what pushed you to start being, because it's one thing, like a lot of people buy a lot and show up and are very supportive, but it's another to take that next step and to be purposeful and thoughtful and creative and like make content. There's a lot of people in the community, but when you talk about the people that make consistent content more than just like here's what I ripped or I'm ripping a box or whatever. But you came on and started really incorporating this stuff into your content, and I would love to hear about that journey, both like the origin of it. Like, were you looking for something? Were you looking for an outlet in doing it, or like you just really caught the bug and fell in love with the what this is, and that inspired you?
like in the beginning, it just kind of happened out of like funny moments to just wanting to more than just a picture or like to write something and like capturing like a moment or I thought I had and just making videos about it. And I've done content on and off for like different side projects I had, but never like this consistent. And at some point, it just really caught on for me that it's just really fun. Like I enjoy doing it. I love being creative, and it just gives me an outlet to share. I think who I am, my creativity, but also my love for VeeFriends. And I think especially past VCon, I think I made the decision for myself to tap into it full time for a while. I told myself I'd give myself a year. I need time restraint because of my ADHD to like give myself like a time frame to get things done. And I feel like since VCon, I'm like really feel I want to tap into my passion and my love for content creation and just see what happens. Because I feel like if I don't try it out, I'm gonna regret it later. I don't know if it's gonna lead to anything or what the end goal is for it. Right now, it's really just sharing something that I fell in love with. It's VeeFriends, the message behind it, and the community, and I want to share that with others. It has given me so much, like the community and even like communication with the team and stuff, and meeting them at VCon. It's just like has strengthened again my belief in like what they're trying to accomplish with all this. That I feel like I want to be part of that in my own personal way. And right now, for me, that's content creation. That feels natural to me. For some people, it's for you. It's having this podcast. For others, it's maybe writing a blog or taking pictures
Mm.
or just talking about it. I think everybody has their own thing that they're really passionate about, and content creation comes natural to me. So I feel like it's just my part of like making this grow, bringing in more people who could really benefit of being part of this community.
Um, I love that, and with for you, like it just totally. strikes me because I am, I do this obviously, but I am like 90% watching and reading. Like I think I'm like Gary says that a lot. He's like he's always watching. Like I'm always watching, I'm always listening, and like I see a lot of stuff. But yours is like totally it just like screams authenticity like of who you are. Like no one could like replicate that. Whether it's like the Legos and the VF or like the kids games or like just the fun little crafty things that just like so who you are and your story and the uniqueness you bring to the table, which is awesome. And like in this VeeFriends world, like where we're going, it's just like totally a perfect fit because it's like parents and like that's going to be the number one. I mean, parents, comma kids, like any other, you know, form of media, like with the moon bug or what have you. It's totally aligned, and I love that you're doing that. So the planet, like from what I'm hearing, you don't have like a set like goal, or maybe you do. I don't know. But you're just kind of giving yourself this leash to play with and see what happens on the other side.
I think also because I have dabbled in different things before and always went into with a mindset of like, okay, how can I make money with this? And that has held me and my creativity back. And I feel like this
Yeah,
time I'm like, at this point I don't have to make money with it. If at some point it does, great. But I don't have to. And so it really allows me to just unleash everything that comes
yeah,
up, anything that comes to mind. There's no restrictions I have. Like, of course, I always want to be like um, respectful to the brand and make sure that I always put the things that I talk about and like that's about VeeFriends in a positive light. Um, but otherwise, I have complete creative freedom because I'm working for myself. I'm not working for anybody, and I think that really gives me. I think that that's what makes it also, and I'm happy that you say that it's authentic to me. That because I can fully be myself, there's nobody I have to run things by or anything. I can just be me and I share with others how I experience or how I interpreted VeeFriends. And I think that that's really helpful for me.
totally. When I started this journey, like I was looking for a job because I wanted to get out of teaching, which I did, and I'm back in the same place now. I've just learned a lot more. Uh, but like the pinnacle for me at that time was like I would love to just work for VeeFriends. I'd love to work for VeeFriends. And like as I've kind of done some reps here, I think about what you were just speaking on a lot. Like, would I be able to do what I am doing if I worked for VeeFriends? And the answer is probably is could be no. Like, there's a lot of restrictions. There's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of handbooks, and especially as they grow. That's not to say I'm one way or another. Like, would I ever want to work for them? But it's an interesting point because I know there's a lot of people like that's their, I want to work for Gary or I want to work for VeeFriends or I want to create content with and get this collab. But I think a lot of people should be playing it like you are, like doing, just do you, do you. And I want to read a tweet that you posted. When was it? 8/27. Oh, a few days ago from when we're recording this, August 27th, 2024. You tweeted out, "I love VeeFriends and fell in love with content creation, but sharing it outside my VF family here on X and my other socials with family and friends scare the shit out of me because it is so different from what I used to post. But you know what? It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to follow your passion. It's okay to change. It's okay to be fully for you." And you go on to say a few other paragraphs, but you said, "I'm the happiest I've been in a long time." Which A, I would love for you to elaborate on that. But B, I think that's another just testament to you being authentic and it paying dividends like already, right? Like outside of the monetary figures. Like that's just from what I'm seeing. Maybe like you're totally wrong. You're like, Rob, you're like totally off base here. But like that's amazing. So I'd love for you to elaborate that on that. Plus, I'd love to dip into the conversation of like we're in this really weird like echo chamber of like where everyone's great, everyone's like we're all friends, we're all family, right? Uh, but like there's these other spheres of our life, and like how do we talk about that? So I'll let you
Mhm.
take that in whatever order you want, but I'd love to open up that can of worms.
I think it was definitely I had a lot of my stuff when it came to VeeFriends only on X. I didn't have Twitter. I didn't have Twitter until I joined VeeFriends. Like I had one, but I never used it. I didn't understood it. And on Fanatics, I keep saying like tweet it out. And I'm like, I don't have Twitter. I can't tweet it out. And so I joined Twitter, and that's when I got to know a lot of the community. But that's why my Twitter is just VeeFriends. Like none of my other friends are there. Like nobody's there. I kept it very separate. But at some point, VeeFriends in my life took so much over that I felt like I want to share it outside of here. There's people that like are part of the Fanatics streams who are not on Twitter, but I would like to share my stuff with them too and have connections and talk with them. So I felt like, and I want to share like what I fell in love with, but it was so, at that point, I was so in it that it was like, it was hard for them to understand like, what is this stuff we're talking about? Like, for them, it came out of nowhere, you know, especially the friends who didn't see me all the time. And that was nervous in the beginning of just like sharing just VeeFriends over and over again. So I felt like I kept it a little bit quieter on socials. But since I made that choice after VCon to really dive into it, I was like, I need to get over that fear, what they're going to think of me about this. Like, if it's real friends, they will be happy for me that I'm happy. And if they're not, then let them unsubscribe or let them leave my socials. Then they're not supposed to be my life right now, anyways. Like, if this is what makes me happy right now, I only want to be with people who are happy for me. If they understand VeeFriends or not, or if they agree with it or not. But like, I'm okay at this point in my life to have less friends and less people around me, but the people I have in my life are people who value me for who I am and are happy for me for the things that I like. You know, that doesn't mean they can't question things or like ask questions about it, but they're happy that I share these things. And so I feel like I shared the same thing on Instagram itself too, because I felt like I wanted the people there to know that too. And I got a lot of positive responses from my friends of like being happy for me that I shared it. That it's okay that you're really into something all of a sudden and like sharing what you're passionate about. And I feel like the big part is for me too. I feel like I finally listened to Gary. Like it's just all the things he always talks about. Like if you're really passionate about something, share it. Like talk about it. Like and I think that's what I'm doing right now. That's why I'm giving myself that time and that freedom of just like I felt like, and it's not just like VeeFriend itself. I fell in love with the message around VeeFriends, what they're trying to accomplish. Like the message is like to make this world a better place. And I feel like especially as you get older and as you have kids, like I want to know that when I leave this world, that I can go and say I left it better than I found it. And I feel like right now with VeeFriends, we can do that. Like I want the world to be a better place when my kid was my age. And I feel like VeeFriends has a chance to create that. And so that's why I'm passionate about it. I think you can create your own thing to make the world a better place, or you can join something else who is trying to accomplish that. And I feel like I found something that aligns with me. Like I follow a lot of the VeeFriends team members on socials and just kind of I'm a very observant person. Like it was really important for me to meet a lot of them at VCon and just have that personal, a little bit one-on-one to like see are there genuine good people that I want to see the IP that I believe so much in. What are the people behind it? Can I trust that they build what they're saying they're trying to build? And I think after VCon, that was really for me. Yes, like I believe not just in the IP and the idea, like I can see that the people behind it really mean what they say. And I think that's when it really strengthened for me. And that's when it also shifted for me. Like, I want to share this with the world because I believe so much in it.
Is it, this might be a weird way to phrase it. Is it challenging for you as being like teacher DNA and like you just see so much potential in like these characters and these like this stuff isn't taught in schools, and then the parent and then like the entrepreneur and like deep community member that wants to see it, like do you like have like so many possibilities with all of those spheres of your life that it's just like too much to handle sometimes?
Like, there's so many things I would love to do with it too. Like, I think I started out with the whole We Learn with Friends, which was mostly for kids, and then dab more into like my personal content around it. And I definitely want to do both, but it's definitely finding that balance of like having time for both.
Yeah.
Like giving it enough attention that it deserves in that moment.
I
Then that
I
makes it tricky sometimes.
totally. I struggle. That's like one of my big struggles because like I just have so many vantage points that I want to incorporate, but I just gotta, and that's I'm ADHD too, so like that's just part of the deal. But
Yep.
I think I had a feeling that maybe you could resonate with that. Maybe we could be like accountability partners in that sense. Uh, what's what has VeeFriends done for you?
Man. And I posted something earlier that it has changed my life completely. Like from I'm gonna get emotional. Let's face it. We know that about Anne by now. I think the biggest part is the friendships that shit. Man, just knowing that. I mean, you're part of that friend group that is in this group chat that we talk daily to each other. Like, and I have friends, but I hadn't had friends that I talk daily to in a really long time. And I think that's such a special thing to have, and to think that without VeeFriends, I would have never met you guys is such a like it's such a weird feeling. That that alone, I feel like I'm so grateful for. That the people I got to meet in this space, it's just not just the friendships, but in general, like the people I meet is such a warm and welcoming place that again it allowed me to just be myself. Like I talked about it on a different podcast that I think for the longest time, like life is like this, and I believe I have to be here. Like I can't be too much. I can't show everything of myself. I like to protect myself and and I feel like here I really allow myself most days to be full on me. And and that's okay here. Like it's a safe place to be yourself, like the good and the bad parts, and people like cheer for you if you all of you. And I think that's just such a special thing that I just wish everybody had. And I think that's why it's important for me to share VeeFriends with others, to have that same possibility in their life. Like, yes, I've done content before, but not in the intensity that I do now. Like, I've never done a song before in my life, like, and things like that. Just, I allow myself to try things I never thought I would do, knowing that it's okay to try things here and not be laughed about or anything like that. It's just you can fully be yourself, and I think that's such a beautiful thing. That I'm really happy that we are still so early in it. That I like that there's not a big disconnect between the community and the team. Like, yes, there's the defense team and there's a community, but just seeing at VCon, you can just walk up to them and talk to them. It feels like friends. Like it's not like these high end people. Like Gary might be a little bit different because everybody's always around them and there's always like people there. But I got to talk to Rips and Andy and like so many people, and it's just like talking to friends. It's like very easy, and I just really appreciate that there's such a they want to hear from people. They want to be part of it. They are part of the community. For them, it's just not just like, okay, we are the people who buy from them. It's like they genuinely care. Like you see them show up in different streams and stuff because they want to be part of it. They want to hear what people have to say. They want to make the changes if they hear like something isn't going well or it's going in the wrong direction. Like I love that they really just care. And I think that's just such a beautiful thing that I feel like a lot of projects just don't have.
I I couldn't agree more, and I think they help create the safe place that we're talking about, the place
Yeah.
that you're stepping outside your comfort zone, and everyone's stepping outside their comfort zone, and like even like it's kind of silly, but like we do things like VeeFam After Dark. Like when you were talking about like stepping out of your comfort zone, like I know a lot about you. I know a lot of like weird and stories from VeeFam, like from voting game, right? And like,
Yep.
yeah, like we did that ourselves, but like it's everything we do is under the umbrella of like this
Yep.
safety net, this safe place. And you know, that was one of my big curiosities, like going into this whole project a few years ago. I was like, I want to, not that I had any like doubts, but like I just wanted like to compile receipts, I guess, for like, is everyone is everyone as authentic as they
Hmm.
say? Is Gary like, is this is there a curtain out there that we don't know about?
Yep.
And obviously everyone's got their own stuff, but I think you know what I mean. And like everyone, everyone, like the stories about how amazing this person is, or how, and it all Gary's at the top, but like as it trickles down from the Sids and the Andys and the Tylers and the all the way down to Corso and whatever, like the shoe is not the other shoe is not dropping. So I think it's fun to hear you doing your own little investigations. Like it's amazing. We're just in the right place. We're
And I
in
think
an
it's
amazing
important to
place.
do that too. I feel like if you're so invested, like you or I
Yeah.
am in something, like we spend a lot of time and money on this too. Like we have invested time and money into this, that you want to make sure that the people who are making the decisions are still aligned with you, have the same values and belief as you. And I think that that's a normal thing to do. And I think it's appreciated from them too. Like you don't just like, I'm not like a Gary like fan who's just like does all the thing because it's Gary. Like I got into it through other things. Like I believe in a lot of things that Gary says, but like it wasn't just for me like getting to know Gary and any of that stuff. It's the
Mm.
VeeFriends that if it's Gary led or not. So I've like just making sure that if you spend so much time and energy and also putting your name together with that brand, like you do with VeeFam sessions, that means your name is in connection, that you like this company, you like this IP, you want to make sure that it's really something that aligns with you. I think it's okay to ask those questions. I think it's important.
No, due diligence is a very intelligent way to go about things. Um, I want to, speaking of safe place, we have to talk about VCon. Um, Obviously, you started your journey this past year. This was your first opportunity to go to VCon. I'd love to just frame it up since there's so much buildup. I'd love to talk, expectations versus reality. Um, what were your thoughts going in? And, you've kind of alluded to a few things, meeting the team and, the VFam. But I would love to just, a couple minutes on your experience going in versus when you showed up in LA.
I mean, I was excited to finally meet everybody. I'd only met Savvy in person at that point. Like, I've had talked to so many people and had never met anybody. So I was just excited to finally be able to hug people and say hi and it exceeded my expectations. Like, I landed Thursday evening and had some time just with like Tom and Jay and Michelle that evening, and that was really fun to just have like a small group and just chat. And then Friday was overwhelming. Like positively overwhelming, but overwhelming because there was so many things happening that day. I met so many people, people I didn't even know. Like I think that was the other part too, that because people knew me from like streams and Fanatics and stuff, they came up to me and knowing my face and telling me who they are, and I was like some of them like told me their like stream name, and then like okay, then I kind of knew who it was, but some people I'm like I have never heard of you. Like yeah, I'm just watching. I've never commented. And I was like okay, cool. So like you don't realize that there's people out there who know who you
Your
are, but you
impact,
have
yeah.
no idea who they are. Yeah. So that was definitely the amount of people coming up. Like it was definitely a bit overwhelming. I didn't quite know what to do with that. Um, but it was fun too to just like see people who you've talked to for so long and just be able to see them in real life. You just walk up and down and then like Green Dog is there or Dirt Dog is there. It's like it's just like you see these people all the time in the streams, and I talk with them so many times, and now all of a sudden I can just walk down the street and like say hi to them, give high five, give hugs. And that was just such a cool, surreal. Friday was just surreal. That like these are real people. I just like kept touching them. It's like you're real. You're not a screen anymore. And that was just like so fun to be part of it. And then to meet team members, and there was a vendor meeting we went to, and that's when I met Gary for the first time, which I didn't know he would be there, and that's when I got to talk to Andy for a couple minutes. Then there was the Uno tournament at night, and just that all thing went crazy. There was like so many things happening that first day. It was just like it took me a couple hours in the evening in the hotel to just like decompress what just happened today. Because I feel like all weekend long, I think that was the other day, you just went go, go, go because you didn't want to miss anything. First of all, you didn't want to miss out on the different events, but also not knowing when I'm going to see all these people again. I wanted to make sure I spent as much time as possible with everybody. And by day 3, I was definitely feeling it. Like, I did not feel good anymore. Like, just a lack of sleep. But VCon was such a amazing event. The speakers, the setup, the people, just like everybody's just like talking to you and kind and open, and just you make so many new connections. It's just such a life-changing thing to do that I would never miss it again.
Yeah, it does go by in a blur. And one of the things I always thought, and you're hitting it, like you're hitting so many of my thoughts like right in the head. One of people that would always ask about like hotels or things, and I was like, listen, I there was a lot going on, and I really, as much as like you get the whole camp feeling if you room with someone and you save money, but like I really cherish that like decompression time in the evening, like recharging the batteries and just like having some quiet, just like think about my day and like what happened and like what I want to get out the next day, and just that quiet, like that peace, like you can't put a price on that. Not to say like it wasn't amazing, but there's a lot is happening. A lot is happening. So if you're whenever VCon 4 is, maybe something to note if you're listening. You mentioned that you didn't know what to do with the feelings of people coming up to you and like, hey, you're in Bagg, or maybe you like people love this piece of content, or you made someone feel this way. Like the truth is like you're very like you're beloved, like cherished person here. Like how do you feel about that? Like you're just like doing we've gone over this for the last few minutes. Like you're just being you, like you're just doing what you want to do. And you're obviously making an impression and like making motions in people's worlds. Like how do you feel about that?
I talk a lot about that with Soggy because I feel like we both had similar experiences of just coming in and buying cars, and all of a sudden people know you. It feels like this, I don't know, fake internet fame of like not really understanding why people know you.
Mm,
Like, as much as I appreciate it and I love that people see the real me, I think in the beginning it was really weird for me just because they knew me for something that's not truly me. Like, I love the cars, I love the collectibles, but I'm more than that. So when people just know me for that, I think that's probably also why creating content is part of me, that I can change that narrative. I can show people that I'm more than just pulling a couple 101s. Like I'm creative and I'm kind and funny and I'm thoughtful. Like there's all these parts of me, and I want people to see more than just that side. And I think for me, content creation is also a little bit of, I always say it's a little bit of like personal therapy, of like all those self-doubts you have about yourself, just overcoming them when I do that. Like there's certain things I don't like about myself if it's on camera, or like I don't like my voice, and just, but going on stream, doing the videos is like rewriting the story in my head of like the whole thing of like nobody really cares. Nobody cares what you look like. Nobody cares like what your voice really sounds like, as long as
right.
you create something that has meaning for people or is entertaining to them. Like nobody cares about all these little things that you worry about. And I think it's just for me proving to myself that sometimes those inner doubts and voices are just not true. I think sometimes that content is more for myself than for anybody else. But I think it helps me show people that there's more to me than just a collector or the cards. As much as I love them, I'm more than that. I think that has helped me a lot in the last couple of weeks to know I'm okay if people know me because I put content out there. I know why they know me. I chose to be known. Versus before that, it was this weird. People would say your name and stuff. And it's like, I just bought some cards. Like, what do you like? It just it is a really it's a really weird feeling. Like I think a lot of people are wanting it and think it's this amazing, great thing. And don't get me wrong, like it's fun that people talk to you and want to get to know you, and that's a great feeling. But it's also a very weird and overwhelming feeling if you're more of an introvert like me.
Mm,
And all these people saying your name, because it doesn't just come with positive stuff, it comes with negative stuff too. So I feel like, and some people just don't quite see that part of it, that you have to deal with that too on the back end.
sure, sure. Well, I appreciate you hitting on that, and I appreciate you coming on to create that context because now it's like we're even taking it. The content's one thing, but like taking it a step further, like the the thinking and the origin behind it, which really paints a deeper picture. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to blow her spot up too much, but like Chelsea, I've talked a lot with Chelsea about that because like many times she's like, I don't understand like why is someone calling me a legend? Like why is this person saying this? Why am I so wanted here? Like I haven't really done anything. Um, and with no context, like surface level, it's like that's not a big deal at all. But like it's it's a little deeper than that if you're living it.
Yep.
So I appreciate you hitting on that because it does come with a lot of layers depending on the people, others, and what they're dealing with, and so you know how it goes.
And I
So
think it's also personality wise, like I think that's just how I was raised, is like I like to earn
mm,
my things. Like not with false pride or anything, but like I want to know why I earn something. Like if people know me now, I know I put in the time and the energy to connect with people, to do content, to do the stream. Like there's so many things I'm doing all day that if people then get to know me, like I know the work I've put into it to get to that point versus just pulling some cards. I didn't do anything. So it just felt weird and wrong. It just didn't feel right. Like I didn't work for it. And
yeah,
I'm somebody who likes to earn her credit or whatever it is, like it just didn't feel like that way.
I can totally appreciate that. Um, Couple quick questions before we head to our last segment. We've talked about the community a lot. What does that word mean to you, community?
I know it's always throwing around a lot, but it's just so nice to be with so many people who are like-minded, who have similar beliefs, and who work on the same thing together. I think that's been really helpful. And I think besides content creation, I think community building is the other part I really fell in love with. I love streaming and having people on and just getting to know them for the first time. Just building those connections, allowing other people, just like I've been allowed to just be myself and get out of my comfort zone. It took me a while to be on somebody's stream and then talk about things. And now I feel comfortable streaming myself. And there's many people who are in the background who I think love VeeFriends just as much, but have never been on a stream. And so having those people on for the first time and like hearing their stories and like slowly getting them out of their comfort zone a little bit and seeing that they actually enjoy it because they want to be a bigger part in it. They want to be connected with people, not for like being known by people, but just to have deeper connections. There is a difference of like if you're just listening to something or if you're just in the chat or if you have a conversation on stream with somebody. It just is it's a deeper getting to know each other. And I feel like just getting people out of their shell and showing them it's not as scary as it looks. I think that's really important for me, that helping, and I think maybe it's a teacher thing, like tapping into their full potential, pushing them
Mm,
kind of to that a little bit. Like there's more to you than you think you are. I think that's a super important part for me.
I love that. I know you have a few characters that are close to your heart, near and dear to your heart, but what character do you and need to spend more time with?
I thought about it for a little bit, and I think it's Focus Falcon. I'm like stretched in so many different directions right now that I really need to focus on what I want this to be and what's the most important to me. Because I'm known, there have been quite a few people reaching out about different projects, and like it's really hard for me to say no because I want to support people and I love doing different things with people, but I also realize that I'm stretching myself thin, and I really have to focus on what is most important for me within VeeFriends and what do I really want to focus on, and then be okay saying no to other people sometimes and saying yes to myself in that moment.
Hmm. You you like many in the community are so humble and have done many kind things. One of the things that I've liked to do on this show is to ask people to give roses to someone that maybe a story pops in your head, or maybe you remember something, but someone that really deserves a light shine on them in a good way, blowing the whistle on someone in a good way, because so many people do so many amazing things in this community, both on streams and on the feed, but a lot of it happens behind closed doors, um, because of the humility and because they just don't want, you know, like many of the things we're talking about, the spotlight on them. But very unfair question, but I'm going to ask you, can you blow the whistle on someone in the community in a good way?
I mean, there's so many I would love to bet. And I know he's already well known, but I don't think he's known for the right things. For me, that's soggy. Like, we have grown super close to each other. I would say we're like brother and sister. Like, we bicker a lot too. But he is such a kind and caring person who really digs deep to understand how you're feeling and why you're feeling that way. Like, when I have a shitty day, he helps me out, or just if I have to make a tough decision, he's always there like as a sounding board. And that for like, I think he got put into this category of like just pulling big cards and that's it. And there's so much more to him that I would love people to see that, or see him for, because he's more than the bubblegum black cat. Like, he
Mm,
has helped so many people in the background, if it's making deals or connecting people with each other who should meet each other, like that he doesn't talk about because he's just not that person, and has helped so many people. I feel like, especially emotionally, even though he's gone through a lot himself, he still always has an open ear and is there for you in a drop of a hat. Like, I can call him in the middle of the night if I wanted to, and he would be there. Like, oh, he can have his shittiest day, and he was still like, yeah, call me. And I think that's just, he's not known for that, but I wish he would be.
mm. Uh, yeah, and I agree wholeheartedly. He's known for that in my world, just because I have a little bit more of a, insider scoop on him. But yeah, one of the most thoughtful people around. I love that. Thank you for that. That's not an easy question, to
Oh, he's
answer
gonna
a
hate
lot.
that. But
Uh, exactly. Yeah, you're gonna pay for that. Fuck you, Anne. Um,
yep.
before we get into the last segment here, I just want to thank you again, for being you, for being authentically you, for being here, for coming on and sharing your story, for putting out all of the amazing things that you do, and just bringing light into the world. So thank you.
I mean,
Where
same back to you. I feel like I've learned so many things about VeeFriends through your podcast. Like, just if it's team members or community members, like it helped me in the beginning to just watch a lot of the episodes and just get background story that's just pre my time, to understand a lot of things so much better, or get a better idea of who people are. Because it's one thing if you see like a 5 minute clip of something, but watching like Andy for the entire episode, you can't fake things for like an hour or two. Like, it's
mm,
just, I really appreciate you having those conversations and being able to see a little bit more behind the scenes of what's happening, but not just the scenes, but also behind the people. Like, I think they get really open with you and honest with you, and I feel like you really have a gift for asking the right questions without being intrusive. And I think it's really helpful for especially new people who come in to get to know VeeFriends on a personal level.
I
So thank you.
appreciate that. That's fantastic to hear, especially coming from you. Especially coming from you. So, you might be familiar. Lila, you might be familiar with our last segment, micro, macro, spitfire. So I'm gonna throw a bunch at you. You can be as macro or as micro as you'd like, um, but we'll see how many we get in here. Here we go. Micro, macro, spitfire with Ann Bagg. That is Ann with an E and Bagg with two G's at the Ann Bagg. And your favorite teacher growing up and one reason why.
Um, I think Miss Biedler, she's my elementary school teacher. So you keep your teachers in Germany, they go with you. And just because it was a time that was really hard for my family, because my brother was born right before I started school with cystic fibrosis. And she kind of took on the extra mom role. And my mom was like, kind of tried to keep my brother alive. And I think I really needed that in that time. So that a teacher took the time to not be a teacher, but like took on an extra role, seeing that I needed that in that moment. So I really appreciate that for that. I think otherwise I would have fallen off the cliff a little bit.
Wow, that's amazing. I love hearing teacher stories like that. A secret talent that you're very talented, but a secret one that you have that most people don't know.
I love building stuff. I love a good tool. I think 80-90% of our household are my tools. I do flooring, I've built furniture, like I love building stuff.
Let's go.
Not
Wow.
sure if that's a skill, but I like doing it.
Um, what social media platform, if it was illegal to have more than one, which one would you keep?
X.
What VeeFriends card is on your bucket list?
Probably the gift code.
What is your favorite physical piece of VeeFriends or Gary Universe memorabilia? Oh, there it is. That's Rips too, right?
Yep.
All right, hold it for an extra second. We'll make sure to get a screenshot. Uh,
Just
I
because
love
it's
that.
my first series one, and like I wanted it signed by Gary because it's his project, but like Rips is one of the people who got me into the whole
Yeah,
thing, and like
that's a
is the
special one.
card person for me, so like
Dual
it's really
auto.
special for me.
Dual auto. You pins or stickers?
I think pins. I would say pins.
What was your favorite IP growing up?
Don't really think I had like a favorite one. I watched a bunch of shows. I liked Sailor Moon for quite a while. I made like my own Sailor Moon costume as a kid out of my mom's skirt that I stole out of her closet. And she then tried to find, and I hid it in my closet because she would have killed me. She would have known I cut it apart. Like probably Sailor Moon, maybe, yeah.
When you moved here to the United States, was there like a movie that you like resonated with or like watched all the time?
I love dance movies. So
Like
like
Dirty
Step Up,
Dancing,
Step Up to
Footloose?
the Street.
Oh, okay.
Those are some of my
That
favorite
era.
movies. Yep,
What about Bring It On? Are you a Bring It On fan?
a little bit. But like the Step
What
Up to the
Sheridan
Streets
dance?
was one of my favorites.
Got it. Favorite concert you've ever been to?
I'm not a concert goer.
No.
I've,
So
I've I think favorite probably has to be I went to 30 Seconds to Mars here in the States because I was listening to them a lot when I made the decision to come to the States. And so that was kind of a circle moment for me of like, okay, I'm here now. I made it.
very cool. What's your favorite of the six friends?
Oh,
Or who is your favorite, I should say.
Joey or Chandler? I like the funny ones.
Bougie hotel or hiking and camping in the woods?
Both. Depends on the day.
Wine, beer, or coffee?
Coffee.
What VFriend needs to be voted into the White House this fall in the United States?
Common sense cow.
Great one. The raccoon or the harpic?
Topic.
Would you rather have a 2 hour group dinner with Gary, you and nine other people, or a 10-minute one-on-one?
2 hours with Gary, the dinner. But I would like to choose who comes with me.
Got it. Uh, that's a good caveat. If you could ask, and if he was here right now, he had to answer honestly. One question is all you got, but he had to answer totally honestly. What would you ask him?
When's the next VeeCon?
Amazing.
That's all I really
Amazing.
want to know. Like, there's not. I feel like he has so much content out there that you will find a lot of your answers to your questions. But like the VeeCon one, just tell us.
I love it. And thank you so much for coming on. If you're listening, you have to tap in with Anne. I'm sure you are, but just in case, at the end, Bagg, where else can we get your streams, all your stuff? Where else should we follow you?
Like X is the easiest. That's where I'm the most.
X, and
I'm on
then
Instagram too. I dabble a little bit in TikTok, but not really. And then Tuesdays is when I usually stream on Twitch.
let's go. You're the best. Love you long time. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It was really fun.
And we'll talk soon.